Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Gathering Our Voices Chaperone Orientation Call. Really appreciate you making time in your day to be here and to make sure that you are well prepared for your experience as chaperones at Gathering Our Voices. My name is Rebecca Ataya Lang. I'm the Director of Human Resources and Special Projects here at BCAF, and the Special Projects team includes the Gathering Our Voices team. I'm speaking to you today from the BCAF offices in downtown Victoria, which are on the traditional lands of the Lekwungen-speaking people. I myself am a first generation settler Canadian. My parents came here in the 70s from Lebanon and Britain, and I've spent most of my life in South Coast BC on Coast Salish lands. And I currently live in a community called Brentwood Bay, which is on the traditional lands of the Wasanich people. I'll turn things over to Jean to introduce herself, and then we'll explain what we're going to do today.
Good day, everyone. My English name is Jean Wiley. My traditional name is Mahema Patwalia. I am registered through Huayet and Sishat is my ancestry of New Channel. And I've been the registration coordinator here. It'll be 2 years in February, and thoroughly enjoy what we do. Sorry, there's audio issues right now. Hopefully that'll all sort itself out in time. And look forward to the session here. Marge, did you want a moment there? Introduce?
Sure. Hi, I'm Marge White, and I'm on the Elder Council for BCAF, and my traditional name is Nani Himes. I'm from the tribal group of the New Channels people on the west coast of Vancouver Island, and I'm happy to join you today.
Thank you, Marge. We're glad you're here. So what we're going to be, I'm going to share my slides now, and actually I'll do a quick agenda overview and then hand things back to Marge. Sorry, just let me get my slides organized here. So today we're just going to be talking through sort of some of the roles and expectations of chaperones at Gathering Our Voices. This is a time for you to ask questions and let us know what you need as you prepare to come to Gathering Our Voices. So please feel free to raise your hand or interrupt as we're going along if you have questions. And yeah, just we really learn a lot from you as chaperones as well. So please make good use of this if you have things you'd like to share with us. Before we get started, I'm just curious, with a raise of hands, maybe who has come to Gathering Our Voices in the past, either as a chaperone or a youth or a workshop facilitator. I see somebody in the back there. Yeah. Yeah, so if you've attended GOV in the past, as we're going through these slides, if you have things to share based on your experience, please feel free to chime in. We find often in these sessions, just chaperones sharing their tips and tricks with each other is really helpful. So please share what has worked for you in the past as well. So just to make sure we're all talking about the same event, this is the Gathering Our Voices March 17th to 20th in 2026, which will be in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, on the traditional territory of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh. We'll be hosting primarily at the Vancouver Convention Center and the Pan Pacific Hotel in downtown Vancouver. And as I said, the purpose of today's call, we're going to spend some time having chaperones be able to connect with a representative from our Elders Council, with Marge. And we really want this time to be about helping you to feel prepared and clear on the expectations of being a chaperone at GOV. I'm going to outline some of the safety guidelines, give you some information to help you prepare for registration, and just talk a little bit more about where to find other really important information on our website. And I'll hand things over to Marge now to offer some words from the Elders Council. Thanks, Marge.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. Well, I guess I just want to open by saying that we have five five people on our Elders Council, and when at our last BCAF meeting, I suggested that it would be nice if we had more contact with the chaperones. So welcome to all of you to, and thank you for, agreeing to be chaperones for the young ones from your center that will be joining us. And I'm sure that they'll all enjoy GOV. GOV is a marvelous place for young people to gather and to get to know each other, to form friendships, and to, to really show respect for one another, because you're all from different areas, and certainly we all know that we all have different situations in the area that we come from. So it's just it's a time for all of our youth to get together and really enjoy themselves, to learn, and to be able to teach and to acquire some leadership skills. And certainly we have had a number of our graduates from the youth council who have graduated and really done some wonderful work, got involved in some really professional areas. We've had doctors, lawyers, and many with with good good educational opportunities. And it's a fun time. It's also a real learning time for the youth during Gov, and it's it's just wonderful to see the youth the youth develop into really strong young people. And certainly our elders council supports our young people. And as for chaperones, we want to invite you to come to our um, room. We have an elders room at Gov where we have an opportunity for chaperones, individual staff, and whoever else wants to come and drop in to say hello or to join in whatever is happening in our room. Generally, we encourage the elders in the respective uh, places where our gov is taking place to be part of the elders room, because we want them to be able to share their culture and their stories, and and just to be able to meet the youth from different areas. So chaperones, welcome and good luck. I look forward to meeting you in person. And it's a few months yet, but certainly we can all work to making sure that Gov is very successful again this year. So I'll look forward to seeing you in March. And that's all.
Thank you, Marge. Sorry, I lost my slides there. Oh,
Rebecca,
Yeah.
I was troubleshooting and I sent a direct link, and some of them
Oh,
seem to be joining in now.
perfect. Welcome.
Mhm.
That's great. Welcome, everybody. We're just getting started. We just finished having a welcome from Marge White, one of our representatives from the BCAF Elders Council. So thank you, Marge. And now we're going to move into talking through some of the details about Gov. And you're going to notice that we're going to keep referring back to the Elders Council and the Elders Room throughout this presentation because you know they're just there to be a real resource to you as chaperones throughout the week as well. And often you know when there is an incident or maybe something that you're needing to problem solve with your group, they're another resource and another support for you at Gov. So we really want to make sure that as we go through today and helping you prepare for your Gov experience, that you know and understand all the folks who are there to support you along the way. So just as a starting place, we just really want to acknowledge and thank everybody who is serving as a chaperone at Gov. Sorry, my screen went weird and I realized I couldn't see any of you, and that was freaking me out a bit. Um, so, you know, we really can't do Gov without our chaperones. There is just no way that an event like this, bringing together so many young people away from their homes, staying overnight and in cities far from their homes, participating in this many activities without the chaperones is at all possible. And so you're a key part of our safety plan. You're a key part of how we know the young people will have fun at this event. And we also know this is a lot of work for you. And we really just offer our deepest thanks and gratitude for you for showing up for your youth, for making this happen. I know, you know, there's fundraisers and lots of logistics and lots of forms even before you get to Gov. And then there's 5 days of traveling with a group of youth and making sure they're all getting to the right places and eating and sleeping and all of those things. And it's all thanks to you. And so just our deepest respect and gratitude to you for doing this for your youth. And we hope that you have fun at Gov as well. And hopefully this gives you a lot of information to help you feel prepared. Um, so, you know, one of the things we like to talk about in terms of the role chaperones play in safety at Gov is it coming back to your relationships with your youth. We talk a lot amongst the staff team and with our membership that you are the folks who know your youth best. They're meeting the Gov staff for 4 days out of their year. Likewise, everybody else at Gov is there for a short period of time. You're the folks with the relationships. You're the folks that know what your youth needs to have fun, to be safe, to feel successful. Um, and so that's a huge part of just preparing for Gov is bringing your knowledge of your group's needs into your planning and into thinking about how to make the best use of everybody's time at gathering our voices. We also really rely on you as the chaperones to establish a model, the behavior that we would expect from anyone who is a guest on somebody else's territories and you know, having those conversations with your youth ahead of time as to what that means to be representing. I don't know if I'm.
Good afternoon, Psychospo Station. How may I help you? Hello?
Oh, I think we called you by accident. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
That's never happened to me before. I didn't even touch anything. That was so weird. Anyway, sorry about that, you guys. Um, So yeah, just having those conversations with your youth ahead of time about what it means to represent their communities and their families, and what it means to be a good guest when you're going somewhere else. So just for the purposes of gathering our voices, we consider a chaperone to be any adult that's attending who is there to provide the care, supervision, and support to youth during the time of the event, including travel to and from the event. Most chaperones at Gov are attending in a paid employee or contractor situation. So you're working for a host agency, for a band, for an urban indigenous organization, for a friendship center, and are bringing a group of youth affiliated with that organization to Gov. We do have some people who are attending as family members, as caregivers, and by and large, the expectations for chaperones, regardless, are the same. There's a slight difference in how we need to get your criminal record check information is basically it. Chaperones need to be 21 years of age. That used to be actually set a bit higher, and we just heard feedback over the years that actually a lot of your youth workers are in the 21-year-old range, so we've lowered it to make it easier for agencies to send the youth workers who know the kids best to Gov. Um, Chaperones are responsible for the care and safety of all members of the group, regardless of age. So the age range for Gov is actually 14 to 24. So in some cases, you may have chaperones who are chaperoning youth who are older than them. And we there's we respect and understand that when you're bringing adults, so people over 18, there's going to be some different expectations around rules and what's expected of them in terms of behavior, things like curfews and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, at Gov, the chaperones are responsible for the whole group. So even if you have youth attendees who are over 18, we're still always going to be looking to the chaperone of the group to be kind of leading the group. We're going to be looking to the chaperones to set those expectations. And this tends to come up particularly around the dance party, and we'll talk about that a bit later, where we're expecting the group to arrive and leave altogether, regardless of the age of the participants. So there's those areas where we're going to be saying, yep, they might be adults, but you're still in charge of the group. We rely upon our chaperones to follow the rules of Gov, to make sure your group members know the rules of Gov, and role model that behavior.
Like, hey, we have an opportunity. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just a reminder to please put yourselves on mute too. Thank you. Oops. Sorry. So some responsibilities for chaperones before Gov begins, attend an online orientation session. So thanks for being here. We're looking to our chaperones to help your group members plan their travel, make sure accommodations are booked. Chaperones and any group members over 18 are responsible for confirming that you have a criminal record check, vulnerable sector check, prior to March 4th. There's a lot of information about the criminal record check requirement on the Gathering Our Voices website and app. There's actually a form there for folks who are attending in an employee capacity. That form needs to be filled out by a supervisor or an HR person in your organization, confirming that CRC vulnerable sector check is on file at your organization. If you've attended Gov in the past, just know that this is a change from what we've done in the past. We used to ask you to send in your CRCs to us. We're no longer asking you to do that if you're coming in an employee capacity. We're asking instead that you're host organization, your employer, confirms that they have done that, and that they have that criminal record check on file for you there. For chaperones attending as a caregiver, as a parent, as a legal guardian to a young person, that's where we're asking you to still send in your CRC. But by and large, for most people, you're going to be filling out that form that's online instead. So just note that that's a bit of a change of practice there, and you'll need to take that back to your employer. The other thing on that record check form that we're asking your employer to confirm is that you have agency policies in place that you are also familiar with regarding things like overnight policies, substance use, general safety and wellness, emergency planning. If you don't have those policies in place, please let us know, because we actually have some template copies that we can make available to you so that you can go back to your organization, provide that information, and look to building those policies into place. What we've found over the years at Gov is that sometimes things do happen, and by and large, when we've got chaperones at Gov who are familiar with what the expectations of their employer or their agency are regarding how to respond to those kinds of incidents, they're way better prepared to do that. They're feeling a lot more comfortable and confident in being able to problem solve in the moment with the support of our elders council, with the support of our staff team. But you have a clear communication trait back home. You're feeling supported in your role as well. And so we're just trying to make sure that you have that support ahead of time, and that you're having those conversations with your agencies to make sure things are clear for everybody involved. So if you don't have those, it doesn't mean you can't come to Gov. It means we want to support you in building those in so that you're equally as well prepared. Um, Other thing that you're doing ahead of Gov is just making sure that you're supporting your delegates and choosing their workshops, that they know how to get to their workshops. Those calls to sign up for workshops will go out January, February. We'll make a big deal about it. You'll know when it's happening. But it's about encouraging your youth members to then start selecting those ahead of time. Uh, at Gov, the main things are that you're available to your delegates throughout the event. You're there to provide information. You're there to provide support to them. You're doing some safety planning, like setting up a meeting spot, checking in with each other throughout the day. You're supporting your group members to participate fully in Gov. So there's things like the talent show, there's going to the career and exhibit hall or the career and education hall, participating in the workshops. Gov is usually a sold out event. Lots of people want to come to Gov, so it's about kind of supporting your youth to take full advantage of this opportunity. Really special thing that we do at Gov each year is we host an honoring feast for any youth who have had an in-care experience. And so, because that's, a bit of a delicate and tender conversation to just be asking kids if they have had that experience. We're again looking to our chaperones to maybe be letting their youth know ahead of time that that's something that they have the option to participate in. And then at registration, they'll be given tickets to attend that feast. Jean often emails all the chaperones out in December or early January just to get a rough idea of how many people in your group are likely to be attending that honoring feast. There's some gifting. We engage and do a blanketing ceremony with our host nation elders, and so we want to make sure that we're prepared and have everything ready for the number of youth that we're planning to see. So we just look for a bit of a rough guess to help with that planning. You are welcome as chaperones to attend workshops with any youth who have extra support needs. And just know that no one is going to question that in the moment. So you're not the youth is not going to be asked to prove it, or you're not going to be asked to prove that. We're going to assume again that you know your youth best, and if they are needing you there for something, that you have a reason to be in that workshop with them. And so we really leave that up to your discretion to organize alongside the youth that you're supporting. Other things we look to chaperones to do are just to eat meals together. It's a really great time to check in and to make sure everybody's eating and drinking some water. Um, just supporting your group around making some healthy plans around sleeping, around setting personal boundaries, drinking lots of water, participating in activities. This is where we're really looking to chaperones as well to be having some of those conversations with your youth ahead of time about, personal relationships at Gov as well. We've got 2,000 young people coming together for 4 days of fun and connection. And so this is where we're really looking to you to have some of those conversations about, what does it mean if you meet somebody that you're kind of into, and how do you kind of maintain your own levels of safety and boundaries, and just supporting youth to be thinking about how they're going to navigate that ahead of time, and taking some of those steps to maintain their safety when they're at Gov. This is often where we encourage you to just be talking about, what it means to be staying in hotels, and that the hotel rooms are just for the people in your group. That's not a space to necessarily be inviting other people in to hang out. That's kind of your private space, and setting up some expectations around how we're caring for the venues and the places we're staying in, as well as caring for our own selves in that moment. We do some broad strokes kinds of conversations about that during opening ceremonies. But again, this is sort of those conversations from a good youth worker perspective that you're going to be wanting to have ahead of time as well, in a really personal way that fits for what your youth need. We're asking chaperones to be present at kind of the major aspects of the event. At registration day, your whole group will need to be present. We'll be looking to you to kind of lead that process. Um, like we like to always remind all the adults coming to Gov that this is essentially a youth event, and everyone else here as a grown-up is here to support that to happen. And you are a priority for us in making sure that you feel supported at Gov. But also just really reiterating that the focus is on the youth, and we're all working together to center their experience at gathering our voices. We're looking to chaperones to establish a safety plan with your group, having your contact information for all of your youth members, developing a meeting spot, knowing a plan for when and where to meet up. At registration, everybody gets a name tag, and you're asked to put emergency contact information on the back. It's a really important moment for you to make sure that everybody's putting your name and number on their name tags. In the event of a medical emergency, it's so much quicker to be able to like have a look at their name tag and then quickly call you and have you join us than it is for Jean and I to like go into the Gov app, search your name, find you that way. Any moment makes a difference for a youth's comfort, and having you there as quickly as possible is usually really important to them, particularly if there's a medical issue. We encourage you to have regular roll calls just to check in and make sure your group's all together, and just be kind of keeping an eye on each other in that way. Jean or Marge, anything you want to add? I'll just pause real so that I'm not talking too much.
Yeah, I was just thinking about some chaperones. They will bring recent photos in case
Mm,
a youth gets missing or something happens, and you're trying to make a description, but it's a little bit of panic in the moment. So just for your own reference, either a group photo or individual photos, just for your own. That was just one thing. Thank you.
thanks, Jean.
Well, you've covered a lot in here, Rebecca. I don't know if there's anything more that I can add right now, but certainly, just a connection for just are the elders' desire to be able to meet and greet the youth and the chaperones in our in the room that is specified for the elders. So just feel welcome to drop in and say hello and get to know us. And we have a workshop called Elders Don't Bite, and we want your young people to know that that as elders we do have concerns about the relationships between the youth and the elders, and this is our way of letting you know that we care and we love and we want you to be safe, etc. As young people. So just encourage your youth to drop in, and especially as well to the cultural room. I had last oh I think especially last year we were a little bit isolated because we were in a big place. We had different setting, and so our rooms are scattered. The elder and cultural group were in one area, but I would certainly like to see chaperones encourage their young ones to especially go to the cultural room as well, because that's a way for them to learn about what what is a smudge, what is a longhouse, what is sweat lodge, what is the difference between different traditional practices. And so, that's an cultural education for them, as well as getting smudged or or getting just getting some guidance about their well-being. So that's just the way I think of letting our young people know the importance of understanding culture.
Mhm. Thank you, Marge. And yeah, this year the rooms are a lot more central to where everything's happening. So I think that will help increase people popping in to both of those spaces. And they'll still be next to each other, but a lot more visible in the bigger scheme of the setup for all the workshops and stuff.
Mhm.
So just a little bit more on kind of during Gov and chaperone responsibilities. We're just finishing up the revisions to our safety plan. Each year after gathering our voices, our team sits down and kind of revamps it and it adds to it. And so we're just in the middle of finishing up that draft, and then we'll actually make that available on our website, and we'll communicate with you when that's up so that you're able to read it and kind of have a sense of how we would respond to some incidents so that you can know that ahead of time and plan accordingly. Um, the substance use policy and rules for just general behavior are up online already. And so we ask that you make yourself familiar with those, make sure that your youth are familiar with those before joining. And that if you have any concerns about that, that you're reaching out to us ahead of time to talk about what that needs to look like. So somebody yesterday brought up that they have some youth in the group that are vaping, and that they actually have permission from their parents or caregiver to have access to that. And so just wanted to make sure that they weren't going to be in violation of our rules while at Gov. And so we talked a bit about, you know, part of that is about making sure that anybody who's vaping, for example, is doing that in the designated spaces, not doing that at other times, and that, you know, they are doing that with the support and of their caregivers or an adult in their lives in some way. But if you have youth in that you're specifically kind of wondering how the substance use policy will work for them, really encourage you to just reach out to Jean directly, and then we can talk that through with you in terms of what that needs to look like. We're always kind of walking the line at the events between taking a harm reduction approach, being really clear about, you know, that this needs to be a safe event for everybody, and that that includes being really mindful of substances, but also not wanting that to be unnecessarily exclusionary for a youth who might be relying on something at the same time. So happy to be in conversation on a case by case basis around if you have youth that might need some support around that. Um, as Marge was saying, you know, this is really where we're looking to chaperones as well to support your group members and to know that you yourself can access support from both the elders and the cultural support staff. We're really lucky to not just have our elders council and elders from our local friendship centers and host nations, but also to have a team of trained clinical counselors from Sail Lalem, which is a recovery and substance use support agency on Vancouver Island. And the staff there are all um, are from all over the country. So they all have different teachings and their own medicines that they're able to bring as well, so that there's a lot of different options for anybody needing support from that room as well. So as Marge said, it's a great place to go and learn about some of those teachings and medicines and healing ways. But it's also a place where one could access perhaps the teachings and medicines that are theirs as well. So there's lots of options. We've done some planning work with that team. And because of the size of GOV this year, they're actually going to double the number of staff that they send. So we'll have really great supports available throughout the event. That's thanks in part to some sponsorship from First Nations Health Authority, and just really thankful to partner with them. And they're there to respond in moments of crisis and to provide that level of support. But also they're just to provide sort of that preventative caretaking as well. And so again, you know, recognizing that you're all going to be working really hard that week and holding a lot, that might be a great place for you to just go and check in and be tended to and cared for a bit yourself as well. So nobody needs to be in an acute state of crisis to access them, that you can just pop in and say hi and see what they're about as well. Uh, we're always looking for chaperones to alert Gov staff if there's a medical incident or if you've lost a delegate. So looking to have really good communication with you around issues that might impact health and safety. And also looking to you to then, you know, be following your own policies and procedures around notifying your employer, your host agency in the event of a critical incident, so that you're getting that support and following those threads back when you return home. In terms of safety and wellness, we have a number of things in place to both support safety and wellness and respond to any incidents. As we've mentioned, we have the elders room, the cultural safety room. Those are often located next to each other. We have designated first aid rooms at all of the main venues that we're hosting GOV at. We actually contract with a um, medical and security firm that is Indigenous owned and operated, and we've been working with them for a number of years now. So we have trained medics on site throughout the duration of GOV, And in addition to the security that is provided by the venue, we also have our own security staff on site as well. And the nice thing about working with this group is we've worked with them for a number of years. They are really attentive to being youth friendly and to being trauma informed in their approach. So, like even down to things like they're really aware of their uniforms at Gov. They usually just wear like golf polos with their badge on them. So they've gone to a lot of effort to not appear kind of looking like police officers, looking threatening to our delegates. They want to be another resource and they want to appear to be really approachable in that way. But they're available. They come with like their full setup of first responder equipment. We have those first aid rooms set up, and then they're wandering the event the entire time as well. Saying hi, chatting with people, and really being another presence and another set of eyes at the event. They're also always wanting to avoid incidents as much as possible. So having them kind of wander and just keep an eye on things is really helpful in that regard. All of the BCAS staff who attend Gov have their basic first aid as well. I'm sure also a lot of our chaperones do as well as just part of your work. I see some folks that we actually did first aid training with from VNFC on this call, which is great. We do naloxone training. We have naloxone kits on site as well. As I mentioned, we do take a harm reduction approach in talking about substance use at Gov, while at the same time kind of noting that it's a dry event and our expectation is that we're not using substances there. We have the detailed safety plan as I described, and we do a lot of training and work with our BCAF staff team ahead of time. We all have walkie-talkies so that we can be in communication with each other, with the medic team. So again, just another resource if you're needing anything at Gov. All the staff are wearing black Gov staff shirts and pretty easy to spot. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the most common issues at Gov from a health and safety perspective. Big one is lost youth. And we always find them, but often it's like somebody went to the wrong meeting spot, somebody decided to go have a nap and didn't tell you, or they went to like the wrong workshop and you went to one room and they're at another room. So but this is where, as Jean was saying, it's really helpful if you're allowed within your own policies to have a photo of your group members, to have their contact information, just general idea of their description of this is where when you arrive at Gov, kind of establishing a couple of meeting spots that your group will kind of return to at the different points in the day or return to if you've separated from one another. Knowing their hotel rooms and making sure they know yours so they could come and get you if they need something. Some groups choose to have all of your group members go to the same workshop, and others, again, this is where you're going to make that determination with your youth in terms of what they most need. Some let your youth choose their own workshops, but might go and drop your youth off at the workshop and have a meeting spot after. But it's really about kind of coming together before and after those workshops. Eating your meals together. It's another good, easy point to just come together and connect and check in with each other. Some groups use a buddy system as well, where they're kind of matching up the youth delegates together and just making sure they're checking in with each other. And then having some plans for bus travel, knowing which youth are going to an offsite venue and when, and making plans to meet them at the bus stops afterwards. Vancouver, we are going to have less busing than we have the last two Govs. So if you were in Victoria or Kamloops, we had like a significant amount of busing to and from the hotels and the workshops. We've got much more of a hub this year, so it'll just be a few offsite, mostly the sport and recreation ones. Will have buses too, but it in general should be a bit easier for everybody to navigate as well. So and you'll get lots of information about which workshops require a bus and where to meet the bus when the workshop information comes out. Another common issue is just dehydration and exhaustion. So there's lots of water stations around the venues that we're using, but just kind of reminding folks to drink water, bring their water bottles, um, supporting just taking some rest time, having a good night's sleep. We have something called the chill zone at GOV, which is a room set up to just go and hang out if you're maybe feeling overwhelmed or kind of can't take more stimulation and workshops. So we have like coloring stuff and games, and it's just kind of a quiet space where you can just go and hang out for a bit. We're going to be adding this year a sensory room. So we're going to be purchasing sort of some of those like light tubes and mirror things and stuff to have a bit of a space for folks if they're feeling overstimulated to access. We're doing that particularly to take into consideration folks who might be coming with some neurodiversity, but the room will be open to anybody who would find benefit from that. And as we've been saying, you know, popping into the elders room and just kind of having some quiet time there, connecting with the elders is another great way to kind of address kind of pacing and taking some breaks throughout the day. Um, we're always really aware as well that, you know, particularly for youth from smaller communities, Gov is a really big event. It's a big event, even if you're not from a small community, but just really kind of honoring that, you know, it might feel overwhelming at times and that that's okay. And to have some things in place to address that and to take a break. So this is where regularly checking in with each other, taking those breaks to have some quiet time. The venue that we're at this year for Gov is right on the water. There's like lots of places to go sit outside and, you know, look at the mountains, look at the water, go for a little walk along the seawall. We've built in throughout the day as well. There's like workshop time where there'll be smaller groups. There's coming together in the larger groups for the plenary sessions. And then we've actually built in like a free block as well so that people can just go and kind of check out Vancouver together and you know, again, you could kind of pace if you need something more chill or more active at that point in time. Another common issue, of course, is around substance use. So again, this is really about kind of before even getting to Gov, having those clear conversations with your youth, setting some expectations, and working kind of proactively for youth who might struggle with this as well, and what will their plan be around this. So the rule at Gov is no substance use on the premises. And we've worded this to hopefully be in line with what youth are seeing in other settings. This might be kind of similar to what you might have in some of your youth programs as well. Really happy to get feedback on this as well. If you're kind of seeing how we're writing this out and you're like, nah, we say it this way, that might be better. We'd love to hear from that. We run one youth event a year. You are the folks who are running youth events weekly, daily. And so, you know, we've done some consultation. We have folks on our staff who have been youth workers, but we're always happy to hear from you about better ways we can say some of this so that it's clear and youth friendly. So, you know, this again comes up particularly at things like the dance party and the talent show. This is where it's really important to kind of let your youth know that, like, even bringing in like a Starbucks or a Slurpee, they're going to be asked to leave that at the door. We're not bringing outside food and drink into the premises for those kinds of events. So just to help people prepare for that ahead of time so they're not having to hand over their $7 drink the moment they step into the dance party. Um, Also just around safety in the hotels, you know, that there's quiet hours in the hotel. There's, you know, just maintaining the property, being aware of other guests. like, as I said before, kind of supporting your youth around, not inviting guests into their room, those kinds of things. So again, setting up some of those expectations ahead of time. We usually also like to remind folks to remind your youth to remember that, like, if there's damage in the room, that's going to come back and be billed to your agency, and then that might mean less money to do other fun things the rest of the summer, right? Like, that often is kind of how we've heard chaperones kind of have that conversation with youth around just being really respectful of the space that we're in. I should say as well, by and large, we get just overwhelmingly positive feedback from all of our venues about the Gathering Our Voices youth attendees. Just like glowing. So I don't want to give the impression that, like, all of these things are working, and youth are coming with such great attitudes about being there and being respectful and just having fun. And it really shows. A few years ago, the Starbucks across the street from where we hosted the Victoria um, GOV called us afterwards, actually, and they were like, we see all sorts of youth events come through here. They're like, we've never seen such a polite and kind and lovely group of youth as the group who came from Gathering Our Voices. They were like, they were tidying up, and it was please and thank you, and just yeah, just know how highly regarded our youth group tends to be at all of our events as well. So they really do their communities and themselves really proud in how they conduct themselves. Um, so maybe we've got a few more slides, and then I'll pause, and we'll have some time for questions, I think. So, and Jean, I'm kind of counting on you to interrupt me if you see there's a burning question I should address in the moment. So just kind of basics, like our hub venue is the Vancouver Convention Center and the Pan Pacific Hotel. They're like on top of each other. So the Vancouver Convention Center is the first two floors, and then Pan Pacific above. And then Pan Pacific is, of course, also one of the hotels that we have a room block with. So you might be staying there with your group. We're kind of calling that the hub venue, which is where all of the major events like registration, our ceremonies, the artisan market, career and exhibit hall, like all of that sort of stuff is happening there. And then we'll have other workshop space at a couple of other hotels within walking distance, and then some that will be busable for the sport and rec ones. High level agenda. Tuesday is registration from like 9 until 3:30. And then at the same time, we have the career and education fair and the artisan market running, so that you're welcome to kind of check in and then go check out those spaces. And then opening ceremonies will be from 4 until 6 p.m. And then with the evening free. Wednesday, we'll have registration continued. So if you weren't able to get there on Tuesday, we'll have registration available all Wednesday morning. And then moving into that being a workshop day, we're doing a plenary event where we're bringing everyone back together again for a fashion show. The career and education fair and the artisan market continue. And then that evening at the same venue is our talent show. A thing to know about the talent show as well is we really encourage youth to sign up for that early when they're selecting their workshops. There's actually a spot to select whether they want to be in the talent show, because there's a workshop associated with that. So they do prep all afternoon with some professional artists and performers, and kind of do the stage managing and everything, so that they have done some rehearsing before they're on stage. We have room to take a few kind of last minute, I want to do something from the audience, but not a lot of room, because actually this is quite popular. So if you have a youth in your group that's pretty keen on the talent show, just encouraging them to sign up for that when they're choosing their workshops. Thursday, we continue with more workshops. We have another plenary, everybody together event where we're going to be doing a cultural exchange. That evening, we do the honoring feast over the dinner hours, so 5 to 7, and then the dance party and the movie night kick off 7 to 10 that evening. And then Friday night, we move into closing ceremonies first thing in the morning, and then the great giveaway, which is our final part of GOV, where each youth gets to choose a sporting, cultural, or arts gift to take home with them. As I mentioned before, the Youth Honoring Feast is on Thursday night. So just looking for your help in kind of helping us estimate how many youth might be there. And then at registration, you'll actually get tickets for those youth. And as chaperones, you're welcome to attend to support your youth. Again, we kind of leave that up to you to navigate with your youth because you might have some youth attending and some youth not attending who will need support getting dinner. So we kind of let you figure that out. They don't need to come with chaperones to that event. And because it is often kind of a more tender time for folks, we do, of course, have our elders present and the cultural support team there as well to provide any support that might be needed as folks might be feeling a bit more emotional in that space. In terms of planning for meals, Tuesday we'll have snacks at opening ceremonies. We kind of are meeting from 4 till 6. We don't really want anyone to be hangry. So it's usually like smoothies and chips, things you can eat at your seat. Wednesday, breakfast and lunch provided for chaperones. Thursday, breakfast and lunch. And then we have snacks at the dance party and the movies, and a lovely buffet dinner for those attending the honoring feast. A few years ago, we didn't provide coffee at the breakfast. We heard very clearly from the chaperones that that wasn't cool. So if you were impacted by that, know that we will have coffee for you this year. And Friday, again, there's breakfast for the chaperones and youth. And then what we've started to do is actually just at the end of Great Giveaway, there's a table with a bunch of snacks like fruit and water bottles and granola bars and stuff that you can take with you for the road. We were realizing that most people weren't sticking around to eat lunch. They were pretty keen to get going. So now we're providing sort of some things that you can take with you for the trip home.
Nice.
We We recommend bringing packable snacks, so doing a Costco run ahead of time and just bringing like some granola bars, some fruit snacks, just kind of so that folks have snacks throughout the day. Bringing reusable water bottles. You are on your own for dinners. And we really work to make sure the food is youth friendly. Um, this year, we're at a pretty fancy hotel. A couple of years ago, we were at a fancy hotel, and the feedback we got from the youth was like that the food was just like a bit too much. It was like it was stuff that they didn't recognize, and they just kind of were like, "I just want a ham sandwich," right? So, we're working just to kind of make sure that the youth is the food is tasty and it's nutritious, but it's also not going to be
Affordable.
like and affordable, yeah, right. And not so weird that everybody's like, what even is this? So and we'll make sure that the menu is posted at the beginning of March, end of February, and we'll put communications out for that as well, so that you can see ahead of time, um, what's actually going to be served. And we know sometimes there's some food aversions or things that your youth might be dealing with, so that you can be doing some planning with them around that as well. We are right in downtown Vancouver, so there's like lots of malls nearby. There's lots of the subways, McDonald's, those kinds of things as well, so lots of options for dinner and those kinds of things. And then when you're registering, you will be asked to note any food allergies as well. So we will be able to accommodate food restrictions in that way too.
The
Oh,
hotel
go ahead.
Uh,
across from,
oh,
sorry,
oh,
I
sorry.
was
Go
just
ahead,
going to
Mark.
say the hotel across from the Pan Pacific, it has a food court in in their basement.
Oh,
So
perfect.
yeah, and they have pretty good selections.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice to
And
be.
I was also going to ask about the honoring feast. Do the chaperones have to need to register any youth that is in that category? Or
Yeah, so
how do you
mhm.
select, or how do you know who these youth are?
Yeah, so in the registration of the like when you're adding your youth to your group within the app, there's actually a spot to select that they have had an in-care experience so that we know that ahead of time. And then Jean's actually going to email all the chaperones ahead of time as well, just because not everybody who is a youth in care wants to come to the honoring feast either. That's fine. But just to get a sense of like, do you think your youth will want to come to this? So we'd like to have an estimate ahead of time. And then actually at registration, we'll check one last time as well to say, is there anyone in your group who wants to attend the feast? And then they'll actually get a physical ticket at registration. So even if they don't tell Jean ahead of time and you don't put it in the app, we'll still catch everybody at proper registration at Gov as well. So, and worst comes to worst, and it's 5 to 5 on Thursday, and a youth suddenly says, no, I actually do want to go to the feast. It's important to me. That's cool too. Just come on down to the room and we will find them a seat. We will never exclude any youth who wants to be there and has had that experience.
There's a question from Sophia.
Hi, yes, for the honoring feast, would we have to like if one of my youth need extra support and they want their chaperone there, like do we have to state like the chaperone's going to be there just regarding like food and the meal, and would the chaperones be able to eat there or
Absolutely. Yeah. So the chaperones will get a ticket themselves as well. And yes, you're welcome to eat there. There's lots of food. Um, and when Jean sends out that email asking, she'll ask you to specify, how many chaperones, how many youth might be coming. And then we're sure to have enough gifts for all of the youth and enough food for everybody. So but chaperones are very welcome to come if that's what your youth would like and need, then we want you there.
okay, thank you.
And Rebecca,
Mhm.
we have somewhat of an inventory on that as well. So if we
Yeah,
see the tickets are all given away and then there's still people coming up, we'll be aware and we'll alert for
yeah,
catering requirements.
yeah, yeah. We will always make it work. Exactly. We bring extra gifts too, so. Um, so we do have like a color coding system. We ask everyone, we hand out wristbands at registration. That's kind of your ticket. Um, And every year, like people will lose those wristbands. That's okay. Jean has more. Jean will be set up at the information booth and can give another delegate a wristband. We'll have information in the program about, how what to do if you lose your wristband. The kids are always worried they're going to get into a lot of trouble, and they're not. We want to make sure everybody has their wristband because security and our volunteers are going to be looking for those to make sure that you're supposed to be a Gov. So we really want to make sure that if you are supposed to have one, you're wearing it. Um, Everybody is given a name tag at registration. So, like I said before, you'll be asked to make sure your emergency contact information is there. Everyone's given a t-shirt. The t-shirts are color coded as well. Um, and so the chaperones get blue t-shirts, the delegates get white t-shirts. Um, we give out one t-shirt per person. but again, it's a long event, and maybe somebody spills something on their t-shirt or something. It's always okay to come back to information and ask if we have extra t-shirts. We can't afford to give 2 t-shirts to everybody, but we can certainly give a t-shirt out on an as needed basis. So again, not a reason for a youth to be sad that they stained their shirt the first day and can't wear it. They really love wearing them as well, so it's really nice to be able to support that. Lanyards, everybody gets a white GOV lanyard, but then we have an option that if you don't want your photo taken, because we have professional photographers there, we ask people to wear an orange lanyard, and then our photographers know that to not get those people in the shots. The other thing we have added that I don't have here on the slide is we are part of the Sunflower program now, which I think was started by the travel industry for people who are neurodiverse, that they can wear a sunflower symbol, and that kind of indicates to people that you might need a little bit more space or time, or just a little bit of a slower processing speed when being spoken to. So we make those available as well to anybody who wants to self-identify as being part of the neurodiverse community. Um, and within that, we also kind of take this approach with staff and volunteers and our workshop facilitators, that actually those behaviors that sometimes a person who has some neurodiversities might like to have are actually probably really good for all of us to have. And to if we want to set Gov up to be this extra special, safe space for people, that we need to just be giving everyone some space and some time and gentleness at Gov. So people don't need to feel that they have to self-identify either, because what we're asking of our staff and volunteers and all the adults at Gov is to just proceed as though everybody could use some gentle kindness if you're having an interaction with them. Our staff do some kind of non-conflict non-conflict communication training ahead of time and stuff as well, to kind of help keep that as being the feeling at Gov. In terms of kind of access to aspects of the event, the chaperones, again, you're welcome to go to everything with your youth. Evening events, workshops, the honoring feast, all of those things, you're invited to be there as a support to your youth. And you might have youth who are like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go to this workshop. I'll see you after. That's fine too. We leave that to you to navigate. There might be some workshops that are pretty limited capacity where we might have to limit, that chaperones can take your youth there and then be kind of on the sidelines watching while something is happening. In terms of the stuff that we give out at Gov, the youth get a backpack at registration that usually has a cap, a water bottle, a notepad, t-shirt, sometimes some other fun stuff as well. We didn't used to give out backpacks to chaperones, and we heard a few years ago that actually you'd really love the backpacks because you end up carrying all the stuff. So chaperones do now get a backpack and a t-shirt. Again, for kind of budget reasons, we're not able to kind of provide all the other stuff in the backpack, which is always my reminder to let you know, like, please don't take that personally. We love you, we value you deeply. There's just only so much water bottles we can buy. So bring your water bottle, but we will give you a backpack. And like I said, we'll have additional t-shirts if anybody needs them. At the great giveaway, we actually have a special area set up with some self-care items for the chaperones. So like the sporting equipment, the tech stuff, the art supplies, that's for the youth. But we do have some things that we want our chaperones to take home to show our appreciation for you as well. In terms of registration day, which would be Tuesday for most of you, and then maybe a few checking in on Wednesday, The big thing to know here is the more complete your group profile is ahead of time, the faster registration will be. We have 2,000 people coming to this Gov, so that's a lot of people to check in. And so, if in as much as you're able to make sure that like emergency contact information, names, contact information is in the app ahead of time, you'll have a much quicker registration process. And just know that everyone in your group needs to be at registration. So it's a lot easier probably for you to gather the phone numbers ahead of time, put them in the app, than for us to be doing it with your whole group at Gov itself. Yeah, Jean, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Also, just to cross-check dates of birth. It's
Mhm.
common mistake and human error to put current year on the year of birth, and especially for when the verification comes in for the criminal records check from the employer, or if we view a CRC, we need to align that with what's entered, and it's really important.
Yeah.
And having that emergency contact information there for the delegates, it assists first aid for immediate response. Um, yeah, and it's all for the better. Thank you.
And Jean is available to support you. Like if you're having trouble with the app or you're not sure about something, um, please feel free to reach out to her. She's here to support you. Marge, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Were you wanting to
No,
say
no,
something?
no.
Oh,
I
okay.
just put my hand up after you did. I was just wanting to know what time does the registrations open?
9 a.m. on the Tuesday.
9 a.m. Tuesday,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And we'll be set up there all day until just before opening ceremony starts at 3:30. Um, yeah, the other biggest issue is folks arriving who should have a CRC confirmed with us and haven't. That slows things down a bit. Um, and like I said before, supporting your youth to choose their workshops ahead of time is probably the best. We can do it at Gov, uh, but then it's kind of using up time that you could be doing other things. And by the time we get to Gov, a lot of the most popular workshops are full, so it gets a little trickier to find things and not have a bunch of disappointed kids. So sooner rather than later. Um, and the week before Gov, Jean actually goes through everybody's profiles and enters everybody whose profiles are complete in a door prize draw. And so we'll give out a few prizes at opening ceremonies to the chaperones who have groups that all your profile information is complete. Because again, we recognize this is a lot of work for you to get done ahead of time. And so if we can provide some incentives and celebrate those of you who are able to do that, we're happy to do that with you. Oh, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm going to come off this screen so I can see everybody's faces, and then happy to take any questions, and happy if I missed anything, Marge or Jean, for you to fill in.
Just when you were speaking about the First Nations security that we have in place, and they're just exuberant to be there as the youth are. They're so happy because they're from communities where there's representatives there, and they basically feel like as if it's a holiday for them, and they're just so loving and so caring. Yeah, that was one thing I observed.
Mhm.
Hi,
One,
everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for that, Rebecca. We're from Urban Native Youth Association. My name is Perry, and I just have a question about parking. Do you recommend, we're located in East Van, so we can drive there with our own vehicles, but do you recommend taking transit there, or will parking be challenging, or yeah, or would it be okay to just drive our own cars and park in downtown? Vancouver?
Yeah, like there's that's a great question. We'll have more detailed information about this because we're actually still working on what to do with oversized vehicles and where like the folks coming from, well, even from Vancouver who might be in buses or vans can park. There is like lots of parking lots in that area because it's like there's lots of hotels and stuff. So I think the big thing to know is the parking is expensive. So if you were driving to be keeping that in mind, it's another budget piece. So if you're local and you're able to take transit, that might be an idea to do that just to cut some of those costs. But there is a parking lot right under the Vancouver Convention Center. Um, we're the large event at that venue that week, so there should be parking available for us. We're not competing with another event at we have half the VCC for us, so that probably will help a bit, but um, and then there will need to be sort of some off-site parking for those larger vehicles that we're just trying to confirm right now. So, but once you're at Gov, if there's any off-site workshops, we do recommend just taking the buses that we're providing for those as well and not driving your kids there and back. It's just, again, kind of cuts down on traffic and parking at those other off-site venues and kind of keeps our group all together as well. So like once you're at Gov, you probably won't need your car either during the day at least. So if that helps. But we'll definitely have some more information about parking and just kind of which lots are closest. I suspect they're all roughly the same expensive price, but and then where to park oversized vehicles.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks for the question.
Rebecca,
I
I
have a
was,
question.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
John Bill here. I have a question regarding the age. Do you guys ever make any exceptions for 13-year-olds, or is it just strictly 14 and up?
We're really strict on the 14 and up. Because
Oh,
it's a
okay.
yearly event too, we sort of say, come back next year. But yeah, we're pretty strict on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
Rebecca,
Marge. Mhm.
I was also going to add there is a hotel like right across Pan Pacific. They have a parking lot, but you have to enter via Burrard Street.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. Well, I think we'll probably end up doing a bit of a map because
Mm-hmm.
there seems to be a lot that's sort of hidden. Even when we were parking your car when we went for the site tour, I know
Mm-hmm.
Tom got a bit lost. So yeah,
He couldn't remember where he parked my car.
just thought he'd taken your car for a joyride. So go ahead, Verna, and then Randy.
Hi, so I just have more so of a question in regards to the career and education fair. I had when I brought youth last year, they kind of brought up that it wasn't enough time for them to be able to go to all of the tables because they really love to engage when they go to the tables. What time does it end on Wednesday, just so that way I can prepare them, or is it possible for it to be extended?
It'll be all day Tuesday, like a 9 to 4 on Tuesday, and then I think it's like 9 to 3 on Wednesday as well. So
Oh,
it's 2 full days this time around because we did hear that before as well. So yeah.
yeah, I just remember bringing kids long ago, and it was for the 3 days. But yeah, they were kind of thrown off last year that it was only the 2 days.
Oh, I didn't even know it had ever once been 3 days. So it's been 2 days as long as I've been involved. So that's good to know. I always learn something new on these calls. So yeah, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and what we've done this year is kind of move it a day ahead so it's not competing with the workshops. We sort of are
Yeah.
like, once you get there and register, there's nothing else to do. So we're sort of hoping folks will kind of maybe be able to get there a bit earlier on Tuesday and have part of Tuesday as well. So
Yeah, I'm fortunate with
yeah.
our group. We're local here in Vancouver as well. So
Yeah.
this year it'll be easier for us. Last year we didn't get to, where was it called? Kamloops?
Kamloops, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get there until like just before opening ceremony, so they didn't have that time.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was my biggest thought. I just
Yeah.
remember I even was a GOV youth at one point, so yeah, I remember
Nice.
being able
Love
to
hearing
do that.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's great to hear that they wanted to be more engaged and have more time at that. It's a huge part of Gov, so
Yeah, for sure.
good to hear.
Especially when they have tables have swag.
Right?
That's always their
Yep.
biggest thing. They always come back to the rooms afterwards and be like, "Look what I got!" And I'm like, "Nice."
It's like Halloween.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
You, Brandy.
Hi, just clarifying the ratio is 1 to 5 for youth
Yes.
to chaperones. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And of course, you're welcome to go. You're welcome to have more adults to youth, if that's what your group needs. And if you, one thing I forgot to say earlier is, if you're supporting youth who are actually in need of like one-to-one support, and maybe you're needing to bring two staff to one youth so that your staff are getting some breaks. That's another time when we'd really love for you to reach out to Jean and just let us know that, and then we can be supporting you. Normally, how we do it is like one ticket per chaperone, but in the
Yeah.
cases where you might have a 2-to-1 ratio, we don't want that to be the reason that a youth who has more support needs can't come to Gov. And so we're happy to talk about having chaperones share a ticket in
Okay.
that in that case, so that those youth who do have some of those extra needs are still able to come and have a good time and be safe at the same time, and
Okay.
that your staff are getting worn out either. So
And
yeah,
then
just reach out to Jean.
okay, and one more question, sorry.
Mhm. No,
Youth ages for Gov is 14 to 24.
14 to 24. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And Sophia.
Hi, I was just looking at the schedule for the days, and you mentioned that there's a fashion show on Wednesday. I don't know if I missed it. Is that youth walking the fashion show? Do they have to sign up? What does that look like for the youth?
Yeah, thank you. This is a new thing for us this year. We're still kind of working out some of the details, but it will be during the day on Wednesday, and we will be looking for youth to sign up to participate, and they'll actually have an opportunity to do like a workshop ahead of time to get sort of some um, training and teaching around that. We're also looking at it. The fashion show might include just inviting any youth at the end of it to come up who might want to be wearing their regalia to show. So there'll be more information on that soon, but it will be like youth participating and kind of being supported to run it, basically. So not just adults we've brought in to do it for them. So should be cool. We're excited
Okay.
about it.
Yeah, that's really great. For the youth that might be a little bit more shy, would the chaperones be able to walk with them or
Mhm.
be a part of it, so they feel more supported?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We'd still encourage them to sign up for the workshop, come with their chaperone, and then kind of see how they feel um, in doing that, and be supported in that way. And similarly, we've done that with the talent show now too, where we really make sure there's a lot of support before the talent show, so that when the youth are on the stage, they feel confident and they feel good about what they're about to do. And it's just this really want it to be really empowering for them. And so, yeah, absolutely welcome to bring their supports and feel that they can participate in that way. We actually had a youth who performed on stage for the first time ever at the talent show in Victoria 2 years ago, and I just heard them on the radio the other day announcing that they are opening for Ace and Abby in a couple of weeks at one of the local music halls in Victoria. and are about to release a single. And, that's like 2 years from like being on stage at GOV and getting connected to some people who really saw their talent and could support them to get into that field. So, yeah, it's a really beautiful space, and we're hoping that the fashion show will be kind of that as well for kids with some different ways of showing their creativity. Um, so we're just wrapping up. Joanne did have a question here in the chat, just noting they're a first-time chaperone, 2 adults chaperoning 10 kids. So any tips, they're very open to hearing. So before we close out, if any of our more seasoned chaperones, or even people who were youth who were like, oh, my chaperone did this and that was awesome. Feel free to come off mute and just share that out. And we might do a chat like that on Instagram as well, Joanne, because I think it's a really good question to be like, hey, what's worked for you guys? Go ahead, Martha.
Missed the part about parking. Our nation has a oversized vehicle. We went to a conference last April in Vancouver, and they directed us 2 blocks down from the Pan Pacific.
Okay.
But that open air parking, you had to go through something that was still not tall enough, but on the other side, it was open air parking.
That doesn't sound
So
very
we
helpful.
ended up being able to park downstairs where the cruise ship terminal is.
Oh, okay.
So is there a possibility to maybe look into that?
Yes, thank
We
you
had
for
to
that
get
intel.
special permission.
That's great. I'll pass that information along to our logistics coordinator. And particularly that piece of the open air parking lot is you go through a tunnel like that. That's not helpful. So
It's just
I'll
one of those height measurements, a height restriction.
right.
Yeah.
Over there parking.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
thank you.
pass that along. Thanks for the tip, Martha. And I'll let him know about the cruise ship terminal parking and whether we could have access to that. That's really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Somebody's just asked, does chaperones have to stay in the hotel room with the youth, like one chaperone per youth? Somebody else has replied, separate rooms, I believe, unless they require one-on-one support. Yeah, that's what we've noticed too, is usually the youth are a few-door room, and then the chaperones, maybe 2 chaperones sharing a room together, and then youth on the other side. And then when you're booking the hotel rooms, to specify, the hotels try to do this anyway, that you want your rooms to be next to each other as well, right? So that you can be keeping an ear out for things and be a bit closer at hand. Verna, go ahead.
So I'm kind of going to do a two-part. One of this with the first one where they were asking for suggestions for a first-timer. I'm just going to give a quick example of what I did last year. When it came to registration, I actually got the youth to read out the rules and regulations of GOV. They all took turns. If they didn't put their hand up or anything, I kind of just called them out each time. When it comes to the dance, because all of us have to be together at once, I kind of did the whole conga line, having to go through it all. And it was a way where I had myself in the front, all the youth behind me, and then our second chaperone behind us, just so that way we can see all our youth are together. They were embarrassed, but they had fun with it as well, for both things. Just for the most part, kind of make it fun for them. And then again, for the second part with the rooms, for the most part, I think it just depends on your organization. As Rebecca has mentioned throughout the presentation, was that you know your youth. So if you feel like your youth are needing like the adult supervision and whatnot, make sure to have them. I actually, for the past 10 years, have had youth leads. So they're usually the older youth, and we kind of have them help supervise the younger youth, especially if they show that they're responsible. So last year I had 4 youth leads that kind of took on that role, and they helped us with the youth, especially when it came to workshops, because again, we relied on the buses last year. And because their workshops were all close together, we're like, okay, you guys are responsible to make sure they get on the bus. Just because the youth wanted to go to the workshops by themselves. They didn't want us going with them because they knew we would embarrass them. So we just kind of left it up to the youth leads to kind of step up and help us out.
I was for the rooms, I was just asking mainly, I didn't know if we would get stuck with that at the hotels because you normally have to be like 19 plus to have a hotel room. So I didn't know if the hotels would be asking if there'd be an adult per room.
I haven't found that. I think as long as like you're checking them all in, like they've already agreed to like
Okay.
at least the hotels that have room blocks with us, which might be another good reason to go with the hotels that are already working with us. They already are understanding that that's what the arrangement's going to be like, and so we haven't run into that unless somebody on this call has. But I think as long as you're the one checking them in and assigning the rooms, and they still know that you're kind of in charge and responsible for all those rooms, it hasn't been a problem with the
Perfect.
hotels we're working with. Really good question. Thank you. Sophia.
Hi, yeah, just for like I guess advice that the person asked. I've been going to GOV for 10 plus years. I started as a youth and now I'm a chaperone for the youth that I work with. And I find that it's really good for the youth to have like structure. So usually we have GOV meetings leading up to GOV, and we state like, hey, this is a hotel we're staying at. Let's look at all the restaurants around to see what kind of and it gets them to choose what they want to eat, and then also, yeah, just being organized. I forgot my other point. I really like the idea of being youth leading, because some of our younger ones do get really anxious, and it helps when the older youth, it seems like the younger youth like to listen to the older youth a bit more. And yeah, I forget what else I was going to say. I should have written it down. But yeah, just being really organized, and that's what I've found is the youth like to be organized and know what's happening. And then, oh yeah, I remember for like timelines, because GOV is so like you have to be at this the workshops at this time, and a lot of our youth don't like to wake up early. What I found was like making sure they're going to bed on time, and then doing wake up calls pretty early, giving them like an hour and a half to get ready, and treating them to like Starbucks or something that they want in the morning. I found that really helped with the timeline, is just treating them to a treat in the morning so they actually get up out of bed.
I should have you do my wake up call for me as well, Sophia. Thank you. Those are great suggestions. And Verna, I actually remember you lining up and getting your kids to read it out last year, and Jean and I locking eyes across the registration hall and being like, that's amazing. So just appreciating folks sharing what works for your groups. And yeah, it's so neat to hear when folks start off as attendees and now are chaperones as well. It's such a great perspective. And Verna just added as well, having the youth and their parents sign an agreement form that lists the rules so that there's consequences, and the final one is parents pick them up at their own expense as a last resort. So just again, kind of going into things really clear with everybody what the expectations are, making that a lot more straightforward for you when you're having to enforce any of those. And again, just I've said it a million times, but if you're needing support around kind of enforcing any of those consequences as well, that's a great place to be, coming and talking to the elders. They're really available to be providing that support and talking those things through. And same with staff, if you're just needing a little boost to be like, nope, you're doing the right things, like come and talk to us. We're always happy to support you. So we're going to send out another invite. I forgot to say this at the beginning of the call, but the Elders Council are going to do just another welcoming online session in March. Like it feels like a long way away right now. And so just another little chance to connect with everybody ahead of time. So you'll get that invitation for us. And in the meantime, you're going to be hearing from us a lot with a lot of updates and additional pieces of information. But if you have any questions, just reach out to us. And I'll just, Marge, I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up. Give you the last word.
I forgot I was muted. I think you've covered a lot of ground, so I think, and good questions were brought to your attention, so.
Great. Thank you for being here, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you all in March. Take good care.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye.